When I was a teenager, if I wanted to speak to my friends outside school hours, then I had to ask permission from my parents to use our home phone. Or if they lived further away, my friends, then I had to write to them and wait a long time for a response. Very different from now. You can text your friends, WhatsApp them, Snapchat them, Zoom them, Skype them. So many possibilities to keep in touch with friends. But, as Stu is about to discover, thanks to PYGMALION, there's nothing quite like seeing your friends face to face.
Meet Stu. Stu loves his laptop, is virtually welded to his mobile, and can rarely be torn away from his tablet. You could say that Stu is screen keen. But what Stu doesn't know is that there's a whole wonderful world waiting out there, of which he knows very little anymore, the real world. One day, Stu's friend PYGMALION came to call. Huh? Who's that? He was worried about Stu, as he'd noticed Stu didn't come out of the house much anymore. Stu still wasn't convinced that he needed to talk to his friends in person. But PYGMALION took him to a local cafe where a group of Stu's school friends were chatting. They looked up and called, "Hi Stu." "Good to see you, mate." Stu was surprised how genuinely pleased they sounded. Soon he found himself joining in their conversation, and he realised how much more fun it was to see his friends face to face rather than on screen. Actually, that was great fun, he admitted to PYGMALION afterwards. PYGMALION just smiled and said, "Now it's time for you to write about what you've done today so far." And he handed Stu a notebook and a pen. Stu looked at the pen in mock horror. "What even is that?" he protested. "No one writes by hand these days." "Go on, give it a try anyway." Holding the pen apprehensively, Stu admitted, I don't know where to begin." "Why not begin by writing what you are feeling right now?" said PYGMALION helpfully. "No, it's no good. I can't write here." "I know what to do. You need somewhere relaxing, somewhere peaceful." So Stu and PYGMALION went off to the most relaxing place Stu could think of. "What about by the tree?" Once Stu found a nice spot to relax, he finally opened the beautiful blue leather-bound journal and started to write. "I feel lost, or at least I did feel lost, until PYGMALION came round this morning and ordered me to switch off my laptop. At first I wanted to punch him in the face for interrupting my game at a critical moment, but I'm so glad he did. You won't believe what we've all done today." Then Stu wrote and wrote and wrote until he had covered multiple sides of paper. "Wow," he proclaimed eventually, to no one in particular. "I'm a pretty good writer." PYGMALION just smiled and nodded. At that moment, Stu's secret mobile phone chirruped from inside Stu's pocket. Then it chirruped again. Stu's eyes darted to the phone, as though he was about to reach into his pocket and answer it. But he didn't. Instead, he asked, "What are we going to do next?" "Next," said PYGMALION, "we're going to play crazy golf." "Crazy golf?" queried Stu. He wasn't entirely sure what that was, but PYGMALION and Stu had a crazily good time. "Golf's great, isn't it?" enthused Stu. "What will we do next?" PYGMALION just smiled and said, "Follow me." This time, He hauled Stu to the top of a hill, overlooking the sprawling town in which they had both spent all their lives. "Wow!" said Stu. There were so many places on his doorstep that he'd never explored. Yet, "What are we going to do now?" he inquired. Pygmalion just smiled, sat down on the grass and said, Now, for a whole 10 minutes, we're going to do absolutely nothing at all." So that was precisely what they did.
As we saw in the film, Stu really enjoyed playing video games. But he also discovered, thanks to Pygmalion's help, that there is a whole world out there, a real world, far away from the virtual world, where there's lots to see and do as well. He met his friends, he remembered what it was like to see them face to face, he did some exercise which makes you feel great. So, why don't you, just occasionally, get away from the screen and try some of these things for yourself? Have fun.